You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's The Great Escape After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Great Escape After Show.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of The Great Escape. As we all know, Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another after show for it. Episode 4 called Escape from Missile Silo. I am, of course, Phil Svitek. Welcome. Joined alongside...
Hello, everyone. My name is Marisa Serafini.
Thank you, Marisa, for joining me, my fearless co-host. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Did you enjoy the episode?
I did enjoy this one. Yes, I think they're getting better and better as I watch them. I don't know. I'm just having more fun watching them every week.
Well, today was definitely the closest, certainly. And for me, well, we always start with breaking down kind of the contestants. And I thought they had a really good group of contestants. So how would you kind of rate these guys this week?
Yes, I liked all of them. I don't think they were nearly as entertaining as last week. But everyone this week seemed more serious. A bit on the more serious level, like they had the game faces on.
And for me, I respect that.
Yeah.
I like that. You know, I don't like the clowns.
Yes, I believe like the red team, Sarah and Whitney, they were friends at first, and this was the first time I wasn't for the red team this week. When I first saw them, I thought they were kind of ditzy, a little bit ditzy, but as we saw them throughout the show, like they weren't as ditzy as I thought they were going to be. What do you think?
I personally voted for the red team. You know, I thought Harry and Troy were going to kind of be the typical bro dude contestants. Rob and Angela, because they said, okay, we're from the you know, we come from a military background, etc. It was going to be the typical, okay, we're supposed to win, but we didn't win. So my money was on Sarah and Whitney, and obviously they lost. But again, all these were some good competitors.
Yes. And see, I was actually for the green team because they had history in the Navy. I was like, okay, and both of them were in the Navy, so they can perform under pressure, and they both know what it's like. So, again, I was rooting for people who could, succeed in this competition.
They were certainly the quiet winners. You know, we'll kind of dissect it a little bit more, but I think overall they made the least amount of mistakes.
Yes.
And that's what I hate to say it and be that person, but it's almost like the tortoise and the hare, where they were just the tortoise, you know, and steady and true. They didn't get right out of the gates, but they were always close, and they didn't make mistakes.
Yeah, they were pretty smooth sailing throughout the whole show.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, A, they didn't get caught. B, they certainly didn't lose their map. They found the tools that they need to. Were they always the fastest at certain things? They were never the fastest, but again, because of all those elements, the combination of that allowed them to become the fastest.
Yes.
So it's a weird irony. You don't have to be the fastest.
Slow and steady wins the race.
There you go. What do you think of our detainment center?
The pipes, and it was alright. It was seriously more cramped than normal because they had like all these pipes. They're literally in like a 2 by, I don't know the dimensions, but like they had all these pipes like sticking at them, and there really was no room to like move around. Where the last few episodes they have like they're a little bit more spacious to break
Here's what I
out.
would like to see. I mean, it seemed too easy to kick over the key to someone else, and the key was right there. So I was like, really? I would love to see like let's have the key a little bit harder to push. Like, maybe the girls gotta like whip their hair to try to like maybe I can get one end of my hair to whip across and that'll get it moving and then we'll or like the guys they're trying to blow and they're
Right.
or like anything anything that they can do to move this damn key, but it seemed a little bit easy and everyone was off the races.
I agree. It was a very easy detainment cell to escape from.
But then again, I think one of the keys as to why tonight's episode was really interesting, really close, was because of that fact. If you notice, it's always the Tainment Center that kind of dictates the tone of how things are going to go. Obviously, the people that get out first aren't necessarily the ones who win, but, it creates those gaps.
All right. Yeah.
And so tonight, they were all able to get out fairly easily, relatively, I would say, certainly within 5 minutes of each other. Which in this game, if you're playing it over hours, that's not a big deal. And so they were all neck and neck right off the bat.
Yeah, that's what I have down. Like each team neck and neck for a while. For like the first 2 stages, they were all neck and neck pretty much.
Yeah, and it was interesting. I mean, they had wire cutters, and I think the red team could have had a bigger lead. They were the ones to get out first, but they ironically used their wire cutter, whereas I personally love the blue team strategy. Like, just jump over that damn thing.
Yeah, just climb and jump.
That seemed way faster.
I would have done this exact same thing.
So I didn't realize, I mean, granted, it'd be one thing if the fence went all the way to the ceiling, but the fact that, okay, yeah, you can actually jump over it, that makes it pretty simple.
Yeah, and when Rich was explaining them, he did mention the 2 options, cutting the wire or jumping.
Oh, he did say that?
Yeah, and I would have jumped. So.
All right. So then we get to stage 1. But before we get to stage 1, why don't we tell them stage 1 of keeping AfterBuzz afloat?
Okay, yes. Well, everyone, we have an amazing Amazon affiliate program. So when you go to Amazon to buy stuff, before you do that, go straight to AfterBuzzTV.com and then click on the Amazon banner, and that'll take you to your regular Amazon. You can shop away, but the cool thing is AfterBuzz gets a kickback, and it helps us keep running the studios, keep bringing you free content and all these lovely TV shows that we love watching and talking about. So before you go to Amazon, just click the AfterBuzz TV Amazon banner, and that'll help us out.
Wow, nicely done, Marissa.
Why, thank you.
All right, well, stage 1 of the competition. It was how would you describe it?
Stage 1, the chemical cleaning deck.
It was they had to okay, so one person had to put their hands into the whatever, and then one person was the literal eyes.
Yeah, I thought that was a great example of teamwork. Both of them were working because one person had to put their hands in the gloves, and the red team, I loved the red team and how they worked together because they clearly explained things to each other. They were doing step by step, and one of the girls, I'm not sure which one, they said you have to open the capsule like a mason jar, like very specific details of how to work together, and I liked that, and I think that's why they were successful for a while.
All right. And let me ask this: they were also the ones who switched spots. You think that contributed them to doing it faster? Because then you have someone. Okay, I kind of have a mental image of it. Why don't you switch and I'll give you directions and I can see what's going on. And you, because you've seen it for so long, you actually know what the hell I'm referring to.
Yes, I agree because they both of them, did both jobs, and so they both knew what they had to do. It just helped each other because I think they were the only teams who actually switched spots and were in both positions to work. Yeah.
Smart strategy.
Very smart.
And obviously it paid off. They were the first ones out, and on to the chemical chamber. Or no, the contamination. Well,
Contamination.
actually, here before
But
that, we had like a mini stage, and that was you had to hoist yourself up.
yes, up 5 stories. I'm like, really? Wow. And I would probably this is probably where I would fall behind, like just the hoisting and the upper body strength. Because I don't have that. But the red team again, they were encouraging of each other, and then the blue team, they were the second ones there and hoisting each other up. There, I thought they were getting impatient with each other. You could tell they're like, go, go, you know. And the red team, they're and one of the girls, can't remember which one. They're like, don't worry about them. They're way behind. You know, they were still encouraging, while
Yeah.
the blue team was getting impatient. They're like, everywhere we could go, there's the red team.
Yeah. Well, I think the red team just understood. Okay, we can't beat these guys out physically. It's okay. We've only just completed stage 1. We have 3 more stages to go, plus the transportation zone. Not a big deal.
Yes.
So, and then the green team's last to come in, and they do their thing again. Very, very neck and neck. And then, unfortunately, this is where people started breaking, is in the contamination zone.
Yes. Where they had to find the power tools and film and a piece of the key. The red team was the first to get there, but they were the first ones to find the capsule. They had to put on those hazmat suits and then go into these barrels filled with all this colorful slime. I don't even know what it was. But the red teamer and was
It
the
wasn't
first team.
chemical. I mean, I don't think it was.
No. So the red team were the first ones to find the capsule, and it looked like paint, honestly, just colored paint. And then the blue team was the second one to get there, but they were the first ones to get the power tools,
Yeah.
and the red team didn't.
Red team did not, and this was their huge, costly mistake.
Mhm.
So, and the blue team got it. Then for the blue team, it was a struggle to try to open it. I think the green team had a really good combination of. I think in this that they were the fastest. They figured out here's our container, here's the tools. Let's use the tools. Got it.
Yes.
And whereas the blue team might have found the tools right off the bat, they were very, as you keep using the word, impatient, and I think it fits in this case. They were just very impatient of how they used the tools, and that slowed them down too much.
Yes, and I think for the red team, I think because they were behind. I mean, they weren't behind. Excuse me. They were ahead already throughout the game. And they got to the point where, because they were ahead, they started rushing and they weren't paying attention to what they were doing. They didn't take a second to look around. I think they had the mental state of like, okay, we're first here. What do we do?
Yeah.
And they didn't take that second to find the toolbox right in front of them.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they were kind of on a good path when they decided, okay, let's get out of here. We don't want to be around this frenzy. Let's try to open it outside. But again, you are right in the fact that, okay, stay a little bit longer, see what could have been there, and then do that. Because, yes, then no other team would have been able to see how you actually did it. You would have had the time to think without them screaming and yelling. Because, and that's the tough part, too. We don't always get to see it. But, I mean, especially if you and I are going through all these different tasks, and next to us is someone else screaming, too. Like, hoist yourself up, or like, come on, faster, faster. And, I'm sure Harry and Troy, like, come on, they're bros. They must get pretty annoying pretty fast, especially if you're, that's in this kind of competition, neck and neck, and like, come on, just stop.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a, half a football field of distance between you. They're always like 2 feet away from each other.
Yeah, they're all right there in the same room.
Yeah.
And at this point, stage 2, they're all still kind of neck and neck because they're all working at getting the capsules and whatnot at the same time. And then the red team falls behind.
The
At
red
this
team
point.
does fall behind, and this is again. It was as we watched it and as it continued. The next stage of when we had to line up the numbers to the encryption, the red team could have caught up. This was, that became anyone's game, especially with the guards, especially with people not really knowing what to do, and that was a tough one.
Yeah, all three teams struggled finding the 6-digit number that they had to encode. That 183,596.
And this was the first time we've actually, at least from what I remember, that we've directly had guards be able to influence it during an actual, as I would say, task. Like we've always seen, the guards kind of in between stages of like, okay, you and I, let's say, have to go from stage 3 to stage 4, and so in between that space, the guards would be there, whereas this is an actual stage, and they're here, and they can affect that outcome.
Yeah, I wrote that down too. It wasn't, because usually we see the guards during transition, and this is during the actual. They're trying to encrypt, or trying to figure out that code.
Yeah.
So like they'd put the film up to the board, and then then like a second later they would have to duck and then go back to the board. So.
Yeah. But it made it interesting. I liked that aspect of it, and I liked how the blue team and green team were basically swapping spots. And the poor red team that was just so excited to get caught up in the game, they got caught.
Yes.
So.
They didn't even make it to the board yet. Like, they were going downstairs and they were already caught.
Yeah. So that's always tough. I mean, it'd be one thing if you got caught once you're in there, but like, I mean, granted you should be cautious, but yeah, it was a tough thing to get caught on.
And like I said, I think they got to the point where they were just rushing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, especially I think it works. You make a good point. They were already rushing, but now they're not just rushing to increase in lead, which is bad enough. But now you're even more frantic because you're like, okay, now I have to. Now I have no choice but to catch up. So therefore, I must hurry.
Yes.
So.
Haste is waste.
And they did get caught.
And they got caught and sent back. But we found out something interesting, that whoever gets sent back, they can take the elevators back up throughout, like to get back to whatever stage.
Yeah, instead of hoisting themselves.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Which that would have been nice for like last week, where that one female contestant had to rappel 3 times.
I don't think the haunted house had elevators.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
But even and again, the encryption, that was kind of where it was won or lost for anybody, because the red team got there and it was still kind of neck and neck. Granted, people were just figuring out perhaps, but for the most part, from what I remember, it was still anyone's game.
Yeah, they were all pretty stuck there for a good while.
And that must be so frustrating. Of like, you're trying everything. There's guards, so like you can't even actually. I mean, the biggest factor in this is the frustration that, okay, you have these guards. Like, yeah, if you had a good solid 7 minutes at this damn board, you might actually get somewhere. But you're being interrupted every 30 or 45 seconds. It's like, come on, I was just maybe getting somewhere.
Yeah, that is true. I agree, because those lines and stuff, and when you're rushing, you're not really paying attention where exactly you are at the board, so you might have to just start over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then to see your other teams still stuck there at the same time as well, yeah, then that would get frustrating. I agree.
Yes. So, but the blue and green team, they get out of there and they're off to the races. And this is where they were so damn close together. And they're both kind of, I forget how exactly it worked out, but I know the green team was off and about. They had just a hair of an advantage.
The green team?
Yeah.
Well, are we in stage
Stage 3.
now, or
Well,
we're
we're
still at
yeah,
I was like,
done with 3, getting to 4.
cause they had to take that 6-digit code and like plug that into that dial thing to turn the lights on.
Yeah.
All right. Didn't want to skip that.
Well, thank you. Well, how about we make sure we don't skip on our iTunes? So why don't you tell us about iTunes?
All right. Well, as you know, we're doing podcasts. We bring you lots of different shows every week. And what we want from you guys, the listeners, is to rate and comment on our lovely podcast. Give us 5 stars. That'd be nice. And also, iTunes has a new podcast app, podcast with an S at the end. And you download that, it's free. And that organizes all your subscriptions, including AfterBuzz and our lovely shows that we do. And just rate and comment, tell a friend. It only takes
The
a
app
second.
allows you to rate and comment easier, and it allows us to continue what we doing here at a cost that is free to you guys, which is
Yes.
pretty cool. So we really appreciate that, and tell a friend. I mean, it's the easiest way to continue spreading AfterBuzz is the fact that you just tell a friend. So all right, stage 4,
The surface,
the surface.
which is usually always an open, vast surface where a lot of people get caught.
Well, we only had one team get caught tonight. At least up there.
Yeah, up there. Yes.
Yeah.
So they have to go and dodge the guards, and they have to get to the crates, break into the crates, and find the wheel, shovel, lug nuts, and another piece of the key. And the blue team, I believe, they were the first to get there, and they were breaking in, and but once again, since they were there, I think they were impatient with each other, and they weren't clearly saying things specifically to each other. When one of the guys was like, "Okay, we got it. Now get out," and then they were rushing to get out, and he forgot what was it, the wheel
No.
in there, and he was like, "You forgot the wheel," and he was like, "Well, you told me to get out." So again, it was like miscommunication, not speaking correctly to each other, and the green team, they were there again, and they had no mess ups, and the girl hit her head.
Yeah.
She was
Well,
bleeding.
they made a bigger deal
Angela.
than it actually ended up being.
Yeah.
But
We saw blood, blood, sweat. So this is like the first time we see actual blood from any of the contestants. So yes, they get everything that they need in there, and when the red team, like when they finally get there, I really liked it. One of the girls were just like swinging away, full force, like hacking away at it. I was like, oh, that was nice. Because the other team, they were using the crowbar to like individually pick up the boards and take it out, but the girls, they were just like swinging away at it and like no care about being loud or anything. They're just there hacking away. I liked it. What'd you think?
I think the strategy of hacking away at it worked a lot better. It seemed like it. Whereas the guys, they had to think too much and watch out for the guards and things like that and the lights. And ultimately, that's what broke it for them. And what set them back, obviously, was the fact that they got caught. So.
Yeah, 'cause when one of the blue teams said, once we had that tire, I knew we got this. And I even wrote down, I was like, when he said we have this, I thought that was a bit premature.
Yeah.
Anytime you say that, you know something's going to go wrong and take a turn. And then, like, seriously, like 1 minute later, they get caught and they're sent back. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
Set yourself up for that one.
And just as a general rule, which was fun, when when you're out there, you don't curl up into a ball and just lie down as the red team did. I mean, that was just desperation at that point.
That was hilarious, though. Like, they thought they were actually going to get away with that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, let's. I remember this about the green team, which I guess needs to be brought up. You know, I said they didn't really make a mistake. They could have made a huge mistake by going the wrong way once they had the truck.
Yes.
Because they went in the complete opposite direction. They were searching, and had they lost, I think, that was their only kind of slip up.
Yeah. And that wasn't really a major one yet. It did, slow them down a little bit, but I think they realized it early on, and they didn't get far. It's not like they drove like miles away. They did a quick U-turn and came back.
Yeah.
And then the blue team saw them turn around, so they knew right off the bat, okay, they're supposed to go this way.
Yeah. And this is where I think the blue team, especially after they got caught, they were just in a frantic hurry of like, we got to catch up, we got to make it on these guys. And had they just thought a little bit, they were trying to get the wheel down of their truck because they were stuck, and they were eventually able to take it out. But it wasn't because of sheer strength and the persistence of that over time. Had they just stopped to think about it for 5 seconds, they would have been able to pull it out in those 5 seconds. And yeah, ultimately their demise.
Yes.
So, and then the green team wins. Yay!
The green team wins. Yes.
So
I was rooting for them.
So you were satisfied.
Yeah, I was satisfied.
That's good.
I loved how it was really close between the green and the blue because they were literally seconds apart. But I loved how Rich was like, the green team got here first, so I'm checking their work first. And I was like, that's completely fair. They did physically get to Rich first.
Well, the blue team was ready to just kick them out. And, that would have been fun too. But
pushed them aside. Yeah, I was kind of wanting that, but no.
I would like to see Rich just go, ooh, your key isn't lining up.
Oh, right. Yeah, because Angela from the green team, she thought it was going to light up.
I mean, it's not. You're not waiting for a table at Chili's, like
right? Like it's gonna buzz or something.
But
that was pretty funny. Like I honestly didn't expect like such I don't know, like that kind of naive response from her on that end.
Well, it is what it is. Yeah, she didn't realize it, but hey, you know what? Better safe than not. I like these guys because they were all respectful of the game.
Yeah.
Not that in the past they haven't been, but I think, whereas they try to maybe create a little bit better TV, they've let the actual competition aspect of this suffer a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's just the thought that I get. And today it was all competitors.
Yeah, I think this team, these competitors, there was less drama. They were like right there, ready to compete, and they didn't like really lose their heads. Yes, they got competitive, but there was no drama like last week. No crying or anything like that.
Well.
And it seemed at the end like all the relationships were still intact as well. So.
Yes. Well, speaking of that, why don't we get into?
And now your AfterBuzz TV.
So what do you predict for next week? Where are we headed?
Oh, I was trying to think of one. I would love to see kind of like an underground railroad type of deal, like a Harriet Tubman Civil War type of era.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Kind of break up.
We've said the castle. So that's been kind of an ongoing theme for us. What else is fun? I don't know. They keep coming up with pretty cool things, though.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's like this ongoing theme, I realized, like very American patriotic. Like this week was the missile silo.
Well, we're American.
Not so much last week, but the week before there was on the USS Battleship. So there's like a lot of American elements.
Well, what's
into the movies.
Alcatraz? Come on, that's American as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot. So I'd like to see something maybe exotic. That'd be cool. Something out of our country.
You gotta escape
maybe.
the pyramid.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, I don't know if we have jurisdiction to make those calls just yet.
Keep it within America.
Hey, if enough fans listen and watch the show, then you know what? Then perhaps an Egyptian Great Escape from the pyramids is in line.
Okay.
So that's my 2 cents. So go ahead, get it better ratings.
Yeah. Yes. Keep watching. Because this is actually a really fun show to watch. I agree.
It is. So we're on episode 4. Probably have 6 episodes to go. So I'm excited. But where can they find you for more conversation if they didn't get enough Great Escape talk tonight? They can, of course, find you on Twitter via...
They can find me on Twitter at Marisa Movies. That's Marisa Movies. And I'm always in the booth. So...
Yes. So talk to her, whether in the booth or via Twitter, and of course follow us here at AfterBuzz TV for your latest updates and things like that. We'll be back next week, certainly.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.